best basketball player in the world almost never played basketball. At 4 years old, he sat in complete darkness, listening to bombs fall from the sky. At 13, he walked away from basketball for horses. At 19, he was drafted 41st overall during a Taco Bell commercial while the world slept. Today, he's the best basketball player alive, but every night he still dreams of the choice he made, but didn't stand on. This is the story of Nikola Jokić, the boy who almost chose horses over basketball. And after you hear what really happened, you'll understand why part of him wishes he had. 2 days before my 17th birthday on March 24th, 1999, 4-year-old Nikola Jokić didn't understand why the sirens were wailing. He didn't understand why his family gathered together every evening when the lights went out at 9 p.m. But he understood the sound that would shape his character forever. For 78 nights, NATO bombs fell on Serbia during the Kosovo War. For 78 nights, little Nikola learned that the world could change in an instant, that peace was precious, that family was everything. His family wasn't poor, but they were like every Serbian family during those months, uncertain, afraid, holding each other close in the darkness. But here's what nobody knows about that little boy listening to the distant explosions. Those 78 nights didn't break him, they forged him. They created a mind that could find calm in any chaos, a heart that never panicked under pressure. The bombs stopped falling, but they left behind something extraordinary. But basketball was the last thing on his mind. While other kids dreamed of dunking, 10-year-old Nikola dreamed of something else entirely, something that made his heart race in a completely different way. Horses. Every day after school, he would sneak away to the local stables, not to play, not to ride, but to clean, to feed, to be near these magnificent creatures that somehow understood his quiet soul. His father found him there one evening, mucking stalls with tears in his eyes. Not tears of sadness, tears of pure joy. "Papa," he whispered, "this is where I belong." His father's heart broke because he knew his son was right. But then came the day that changed everything. His father sat him down with words that would shape his destiny. "Son, become a basketball player first, and you'll become a great horseman later." 13-year-old Nikola looked at his father. This wasn't about giving up his dreams. This was about timing, about building a foundation that could support his true passion. His father understood something profound. Dreams don't have to die. They just sometimes have to wait. But Nikola's heart was already decided. He loved horses more than anything in the world, and at 13, love doesn't understand patience. So he made a choice that shocked everyone. He quit basketball entirely. For 6 months, he disappeared into the world of horses. 6 months of pure happiness at the stables. 6 months of being exactly who he was meant to be. His father watched, worried but understanding. His brothers pleaded, his coaches called, but Nikola was home, until the day everything changed. His coach found him at the stables. "Nikola, we have a game in an hour. Where are you?" "I'm not coming, coach. I'm done with basketball." But here's the part that will break your heart. Eventually, Nikola did return to basketball, not because of family pressure, but because he began to understand his father's wisdom. "Son, become a basketball player first, and you'll become a great horseman later." Maybe his father was right. Maybe basketball could be the path that led him back to horses. So he returned to the court, but on one condition that he made to himself. He would never fully give up horses. Ever. And that's when something incredible happened. Something that would define his entire character. He played with a different energy now. Not desperate, not forced, but with the calm confidence of someone who knew exactly who he was. He dominated games with an unusual serenity. Points, rebounds, assists, but always with that quiet, unshakable presence. Because Nikola had learned something profound. You don't have to choose between who you are and who you're becoming. You can be both. That was the moment everyone realized this boy would never be like anyone else. He would become one of the greatest basketball players in the world, while never stopping his love affair with horses. I wonder if at 17 years old, Nikola tried to find comfort in an unhealthy diet, since he couldn't find true comfort in his choice of basketball over his love of horses. He now weighed 300 pounds. He couldn't do a single push-up. He drank 3 liters of Coca-Cola every day and devoured burek, that's Serbian pastries, like his life depended on it. His manager took one look at him and I'm sure he thought, this is impossible. But then he saw something that changed everything. This fat, slow, unathletic kid could see the game like Mozart saw music. Every pass was a symphony. Every movement was poetry. Every decision was genius. His manager made a decision he'd never made before and never made again. He signed Nikola without ever seeing him play in person. In 27 years, this is the first and last time I've done this, but I just knew. But here's what nobody expected. June 26, 2014, NBA Draft Night. The biggest moment of any young player's life, the moment dreams come true. Nikola Jokić was asleep. While other prospects sat with their families, hearts pounding, waiting for their names to be called, Nikola was in bed in Serbia, probably dreaming of horses. Pick after pick went by, 40 players chosen before him. And then, while people were out partying in the wee hours of the morning, with the 41st pick in the NBA draft, ESPN played a Taco Bell commercial. The greatest draft steal in NBA history happened during an advertisement for fast food. Nobody cared. Nobody was watching. Nobody believed. When Nikola finally woke up and found out he'd been drafted, you know what he said? Okay, but I'm staying in Serbia one more year. He didn't understand how things went. He thought he could remain in Serbia for another season. To him, the draft wasn't a big deal. They'd be all right without him. But then came the phone call that changed everything. Her name was Natalia, his high school sweetheart, the person who truly understood his quiet soul. She was in America, studying psychology. He was in Serbia, then later Denver, pursuing basketball. Long-distance relationships are hard for anyone. For a homesick young man who valued simplicity above all else, it was especially difficult. But their love endured, and when Nikola finally made it to the NBA, they reunited. Meanwhile, his brothers made their own choice to support him. Strahinja and Nemanja Jokić, former basketball players themselves, intimidating figures who, in Nikola's words, look like serial killers, but are actually really nice people. When Nikola was drafted to Denver, his brothers made a decision that showed the depth of their love. They left their lives in Serbia and moved to America to support their baby brother. Not because he was struggling, not because he was desperate, but because they understood something profound. Success is easier when you're not alone. They moved into a 3-bedroom apartment together in Denver, a modest adjustment from their lives back home. But they didn't care. Their presence gave Nikola something invaluable. A piece of home in a foreign country. Strahinja, the former basketball player with an intimidating presence, became Nikola's protector and confidant. Nemanja, who had his own basketball journey, including college ball at Detroit Mercy, became his advisor and friend. Together they created a support system that would help their brother become the best player in the world. And when Nikola finally made it to the top, you know what he said? I couldn't have done it without them. They gave up their lives so I could live mine. That's the power of family, not dramatic sacrifice born of desperation. What happened next defied every law of basketball physics. The fat kid who couldn't jump became unstoppable. The slow center who couldn't run became the fastest mind in basketball. The pudgy kid from Serbia, the second-round draft pick, became an MVP thrice. But behind the success, nobody saw. Every summer, while other NBA stars vacationed in Miami or Los Angeles, Nikola flew home to Serbia.
It's good. The job is done, we can go home now.
To his horses, he would spend hours at the stables, cleaning, feeding, racing, the same routine from when he was 10 years old. His friends would ask, Nikola, you're rich now, you're famous. Why do you still do this? And he would always give them the same answer, because this is who I really am. But the cruel irony of success is that sometimes it takes you farther from your true self. The better he got at basketball, the less time he had for horses. The more the world loved him, the more he missed home. The higher he climbed, the more he wanted to come down. Finding balance seemed impossible. June 12, 2023, NBA Finals, Game 5. The Denver Nuggets were about to win their first championship in franchise history. Nikola Jokić was about to become Finals MVP. the culmination of everything his family had sacrificed for. As the final buzzer sounded, as confetti fell from the sky, as 20,000 people screamed his name, Nikola Jokić looked into the crowd and saw his brothers crying. Not tears of joy, tears of relief. Relief that their sacrifice had meant something. Relief that their baby brother had made it. Relief that they could finally go home. But in that moment of ultimate triumph, Nikola felt something unexpected. Emptiness. He had everything he was supposed to want, but he still wanted the one thing he couldn't have: his horses, his simple life, his authentic self. That night, while Denver celebrated, Nikola called his father. "Papa, I did it. We did it. But I need to ask you something." "What, son? Do you think it was worth it?" His father couldn't answer, because he didn't know either. Today, Nikola Jokić is one of the best basketball players in the world. 3-time MVP, NBA champion, Finals MVP, a legend at 30. He has everything any athlete could dream of, except peace. He still owns 6 horses in Serbia. He still reads horse racing magazines during the NBA season. He still dreams of the stables. His daughter is learning to ride. His son will grow up around horses. The cycle continues. But late at night, when the arena is empty and the crowds have gone home, Nikola Jokić stares at the ceiling and wonders, what if that 13-year-old boy had been braver? What if he had chosen his heart over his family needs? What if the boy who almost chose horses over basketball actually had? Would he be happier? Would he be more fulfilled? Would he be more himself? We'll never know. But what we do know is this: one of the greatest basketball players in the world is also the greatest what-if in sports history. A man who achieved everything except the one thing he truly wanted, to be free. And maybe that's what makes him so beautiful to watch. Every pass is a poem he never got to write. Every game is a race he never got to run. Every victory is a dream he never got to live. Nikola Jokić didn't just become an elite basketball player. He became the most human, and that's a story worth telling. The boy who almost chose horses over basketball became a champion. But somewhere in Serbia, in a quiet stable, his horses are still waiting, and part of him always will be too.